So I was a really bad friend and I did not give Renee her birthday present, and it was over a week ago. You gotta really surround yourself with people who never discourage you. I remember when I first started trying to vlog, when I was 17, my friends told me that the first one I made was literally the worst film that he ever watched. It was one friend that told me that. And that literally threw a wrench in my fucking wheel. And I mean, it was pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie, but the whole point is that I'm trying, and we're all really bad when we first start out at something. It's really important to surround yourself with people who will never discourage you. So the idea is, let's say this is your comfort zone. Well, I've read that if this is the edge of your comfort zone right here, just this little sliver of optimal space right outside of your comfort zone is optimal for growth. However, in my experience, when I've been so far out of my comfort zone that I've failed over and over and over again, that's when I feel like I've grown the most. So I'm not necessarily sure. Maybe it's both. I think it is best to be in that optimal space between inside and outside of your comfort zone where you're really pushing yourself and you don't necessarily know exactly what to do next, but you're not just consistently failing. However, to be as far out of your comfort zone as you possibly can be is oftentimes better in America than staying completely within your comfort zone, because there's no growth at all there. So I guess I'd rather fail miserably and feel horrible about it than not fail at all. So many young people in such a long time. Not really a fan of protests, but I can't argue with that. Damn, nice makeup.
Thanks.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
So the story of Renee and I is really unique. It doesn't seem like there's a typical way that you meet people past childhood. I've met some of my closest friends now doing things I never thought I would be doing, and Renee was no exception. I met her at the Apple store. I worked at the Genius Bar and she was a stranger. And then a month passed and she saw me on the train and approached me. I asked for her number and that's kind of how things got started. It seemed like a normal connection, but that seemingly unimportant interaction became one of the most important interactions that I've ever had in my entire life. Renee saw the roof-topping films that I had made in the past and she wanted to do a documentary on me. During the process of making that documentary, we decided to hang out again. We hung out as friends, and by that third time we had met after doing the documentary, after meeting her at the Apple store, I tried to kiss her. And for good reason. I probably didn't go about it the right way because I was nervous and I get like that sometimes. But we hung out again, and at this time of my life, I had just previously gotten arrested. Because it was such a turbulent time for me, I had no idea what was right for me. I was trying my hardest to focus on getting a job so I could try to pay the people back who had bailed me out of jail, and to also have money to even feed myself. I only had $300 left in my bank account, but I just met this girl and she was all that I could think about. My mind would keep drawing itself to her over and over and over again. Especially when I was trying to focus on applying for jobs. I felt torn. I'm sure you've really felt like this before, when your conscious mind is really trying to push yourself to something that you think you're supposed to be doing, but your subconscious mind, or something, is just not letting you do it. Something inside of you is just getting in the way. At this point, I had no idea what it was. I thought because I was so confused and I had just lost trust in myself after getting out of jail and being in there for a day and a half, not knowing whether or not I was going to get bailed out and having to give up on my dream of traveling the world and exploring places, I felt like I had lost myself. I just didn't understand why I wasn't able to focus on what I thought was most important. Well, through that inner conflict, I decided to let go. And I immediately realized then that it's not my conscious mind's decision to tell me what's right for me. You don't use your conscious mind to make the decisions. You use it to articulate the emotions of your heart. That was the realization I had at the time, and I don't necessarily agree with it now, but it was so helpful, because it helped me realize that at the time, Renee was the most important thing in my life. I didn't know why until later on in our relationship, but in that time period, when I only had $300 left in my bank account, and I didn't have a job, I took every opportunity that I could to see Renee and take her on adventures and show her the time. And luckily enough, I was able to get her to fall in love with me. By this time, we decided to be together. And upon reflecting why we felt so good about being with each other, I realized that Renee was the home that I had never had prior. I knew Renee wasn't going to hurt me. That certainty is what made her so important to me. You never know these things when you first meet somebody. You never know how big of an impact they could have on your life. But Renee was the first trustworthy relationship that I'd ever had. And she filled up that half of the hole that was missing in my identity. And I did the same for her in a really beautiful way. With my adventurous spirit, I dragged her out of her comfort zone into a world of adventure. And I let her let loose in a way that she had never had before. We told each other that she was my home and I was her adventure, and that's beautiful. And our relationship went on, and we had our troubles. Because we were halves of a whole, and we hadn't developed into a wholesome enough point where we realized our vices and how they could affect each other, we both made mistakes. And that's inevitable when you meet someone who fills up half of the hole that's missing within your personality. However, through the great times, we gave each other something beautiful, and through the tough times, we gave each other something powerful. That's why Renee is one of the most important people that I have in my life. Find the people in the world that are going to fill up the halves of the hole that you would like to fill up for yourself. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.
If you liked that movie, you can watch this amazing film by supporting my work. The link is in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching.